First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
The next thing is Professor Alan Saxe, who's on the line right now. Professor, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We're always excited to speak with you from the University of Texas at Arlington. How are you, sir?
Is Utica in the northern part of New York?
Right in the center of the state.
In the center.
Mm-hmm. Upstate.
I wasn't sure exactly where it was.
A lot of people think New York. They automatically think the city, but they forget
Well,
there's
that's
a whole
right.
other
You're
state
right.
attached.
And from the central part of New York north, it's a different world.
It is. Well, actually, you get up to Westchester County and further up, it changes dramatically as well.
It really does. I like the change a lot.
Yeah, we get the change of seasons here, which is nice, and we have
the
the Adirondack Mountains.
Politics.
Yeah, New York City also, though, gets the change of seasons.
That's true, too, yeah.
So what's going on, Professor? How are we? How was your Independence weekend?
Well, it was wild here. Texas, Fort Worth and Dallas. I live right between Fort Worth and Dallas, and they're having a shootout with Chicago. 14 people were shot yesterday. I'm laughing about it, but it's not any fun. 14 people were shot in Fort Worth yesterday. Only one was killed.
Yeah, we're seeing violence across the country. Here in our small city of Utica, 2 homicides and a third shooting that has an individual in critical condition post-surgery. It's
even in Utica.
That's
even
right.
in Utica.
Yep, and several in New York City and all across the country. It's just terrible. But
we're in competition with Chicago in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We've just got to start shooting better.
The Democrats, this is the reason we're having you on, are blasting the Supreme Court, and they renew calls for that court packing methodology or the threat of it. What's the latest ruling that has Democrats up in arms?
It's probably the case in Arizona where they upheld Arizona's attempt to make, and it's right, to make voting more real, more in integrity. And it all goes back to that presidential election of a few months ago where a lot of people said, something smells fishy here. And I think it did, but without rehashing that, a lot of states are now saying, including Texas, we've got to shore up our elections and make it more real and a matter of integrity. And they're trying to do it. Evidently, the Democrats don't like that. The Democrats want to make sure that the Democrats win every election. Well, Arizona wasn't going that way. And so that's what the Democrats don't like. So they want to expand the Supreme Court, a terrible idea. Another Democratic president wanted to do that in 1937, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. But interestingly, the history books credit the legislature, which was also Democratic at the time, of not giving him what President Roosevelt wanted. It's considered a major heroic act that they went against President Roosevelt and did not give him what he wanted. I hope that this Democratic Senate will do the same thing. But with Senator Schumer in control, it's difficult to know.
All right, Professor Saxe, let me ask you a couple of things. One being, what was the ruling in Arizona? And you make it sound like Republicans are the only ones who want to shore up elections, but Democrats are willing to have the integrity questioned. But if there's a question as to the integrity of a race, it could go either way. It doesn't always favor Democrats, right? I mean, Republicans can get in and do
that. And by the way, in Arizona, what they did, among other things, is to prohibit ballot harvesting. For people that don't know, ballot harvesting, it's where somebody can walk into a nursing home or a big facility where people have voted, collect all the ballots, and return them.
Right. So you have a situation where you have elderly people who can't get to the polling location.
That's right.
And then one person takes on the role, and it's not intended to be a suspicious thing. But what happens is you have one person who now has 150, 200 votes in their car, right? And
exactly
right. So and that person's not a.
And there have been some elections, and it sounds crazy, but one of them was in Minnesota, when I think it was, who was the individual who used to be on Saturday Night Live? And all of a sudden
Al
he comes
Franken.
up with a bucket full of ballots in the back of his car. That's what they want to stop.
Yeah, I think Al Franken is who he's referring to.
Al Franken,
and,
that's right.
you know, Professor Saxe, there were, I know there were situations in the New York City mayoral race, even in the Democrat primary, where
all of a sudden they find 135,000 new ballots.
You know, the big Eric Adams, who was a front runner in the race, he is a Democrat, he is a liberal, and he's not well liked by a lot of the people that are voting in New York City, or at least the people who are in the elites of New York City are not really happy with Eric Adams. But again, there's no proof of it. But I know that there are inconsistencies in that race. Here in Oneida County, we had, I won't say inconsistencies, but somewhat of a debacle in the sense that it took us how many months to determine our congressional representatives. So whether it be for reasons of fraud or inconsistencies or what, I definitely think that voting reforms have to happen, or at least things have to get to the bottom of it.
So what was the ruling in Arizona?
In Arizona, they said no ballot harvesting, and they want to make their elections a lot more of integrity, and I think they're right. Also, one thing that's open to terrible abuse is mail-in ballots, and I think they probably had some restrictions on that as well. But the Republicans cried foul, said, you're going to eliminate a lot of minority voters, and that is not true. But that's what they were yelling about.
The Democrats
are, you're saying?
Cried foul.
Yeah, I believe that's what he meant. Well, Professor, we always appreciate you taking the time. Do you have anything else for the professor?
Yeah, let me ask you this. Is this something that Joe Biden could do via executive order? I don't believe it is. Or would he have to pass it to the
No, he could not.
Yeah.
It would definitely take a legislature to expand the Supreme Court. And by the way, in the Constitution, it says nothing at all about the number of people on the court. So the legislature can do it, the Congress can do it if they want to. I would suggest not to go in that direction.
So they would not need to amend the Constitution. They can decide it's 13, it's 25,
Correct.
Whatever it is. It wouldn't have to be passed multiple terms. They could do it.
And you can see the problems in that.
Sure.
And it would be curable. Then the Republicans can come in and say, well, heck, the Democrats did it. We'll do it too.
I know. You're going to have this escalating court where
That's right.
We're going to swing it one way, swing it this way, swing it another way. And unfortunately, when we're talking about matters of the law, it shouldn't be that way. The law should be the law, and politics should be on the side.
Exactly.
So. Well, Professor Saxe, we appreciate your time this morning. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much.
All right, that's Professor Alan Saxe from the University of Texas at Arlington.
That's correct.
And we talk to him every couple of weeks. Interesting guy. He's
Yes.
he's a pro Trump guy.
Big time.
100%.